I think that I'm the first to admit that it's fun to kind of get it caught up in some of these quote unquote console wars, especially like from an aspect of not taking them personally or not really kind of taking it the way that a lot of people maybe would. For me personally, I look at console wars as something that's kind of fun to get behind or whatever, but I also don't sit there and want to act like that's the only thing that matters, because obviously it's not. I mean, the games are the most important thing. And with that being said, I just find it to be a little bit ironic that the numbers that are coming in, that the PlayStation 5 is literally, 2 to 1 outselling the Xbox Series consoles. Why that should be a surprise to anybody is beyond me. I don't understand why people are kind of shocked by this. I posted this on Twitter. There's articles going around talking about this. It makes sense. Like, I don't understand why people all of a sudden thought that ending one generation and going into another was going to suddenly be a big boost for Xbox. Like, I don't get that line of thinking. And I know many people are going to be talking about scalpers, or they're going to be talking about, being able to keep up with demand. The keeping up with demand stuff is a problem for both. But here's the fact of the matter is, more and more people are posting pictures of them inside a Walmart or inside a Costco or whatever, and seeing Xbox Series S and Xbox Series X. I've seen it personally. I've never come across a PS5 in the wild, ever. And there's even been instances online where, like, Cheap Ass Gamer or Wario or whoever will post it. There's an Xbox Series S available, and then 2 hours later it's still available. So it's not like I honestly think that the Xbox is starting to level off with the demand, and the PlayStation 5 has yet to do that. It probably won't do that till it hits 15, 20 million consoles sold. So there's a stark contrast there between these two behemoths. And this is the thing, right? And I tried to tell people this because there were a lot of people out there who swore up and down that the Xbox now would be, the end all be all, and everybody was going to switch to Xbox and this kind of stuff. And I tried to make sense of it, and I tried to tell people and talk sense into people that, listen, it's not exactly, something that, that it's going to be, that's going to happen. And I gave plenty of reasons. First of all, the Xbox Series X and S don't have any more advantages than what Microsoft had already had the previous 3 years. And what I mean by that is, they had the most powerful console. Microsoft had the Xbox One X, the least expensive console. They had the One S. They had Game Pass. They had game sharing, game gifting, play anywhere. They've had all this stuff for years, and it didn't help them one bit against the PS4. Now, everybody built up a digital library on the PS4 and Xbox One, no matter which side you were on, and you're not going to just abandon that. It's not going to happen. And I think fans really kind of took that the wrong way, but there were a lot of fans out there that really kind of went this weird way of just believing that Xbox was going to go out of nowhere, sell tremendously well, and just all of a sudden beat PlayStation. It's like they don't really have this idea in mind that PlayStation is this huge worldwide brand, and Xbox just doesn't sell in a lot of these places. And I'm not saying that they aren't for sale. I'm just saying nobody cares about it. Even if PlayStation 5 only sells 5 million lifetime in Japan, that's 5 million more than Xbox is going to sell. Right? So, I mean, you have to take these places into consideration, and, I fear that people didn't really do that. They had such high expectations, and Phil's going to do this and this and this, and let's just be honest with everybody right here. Listen, the thing that really drug the Xbox One down last generation was the lack of known titles, lack of AAA exclusives, and that was like the big thing that hurt them the most, especially over the last few years. And that thing that hurt them the most was the thing that is continuing to be a problem at the start of this new generation, where Microsoft has literally released nothing new for their next generation consoles. They haven't done that. So, it is a little bit, a little bit weird to think that that people actually believe that something was going to change. Like, that's kind of the definition of insanity for me personally. So now we have some official kind of stuff coming in here, and I'm going to link this, and you guys can check it out. The PlayStation 5 is supposedly doubled the Xbox Series X S in sales during Q1 of 2021. Research also suggests that the Nintendo Switch sold twice as many units as PS5 due to supply constraints. So, PlayStation 5 reportedly outsold the Xbox Series X and S by more than 2-1 during the first 3 months of 2021, while the Nintendo Switch outsold both its rivals combined. That's according to this research data analytics firm Ampere Analysis, which suggests Sony sold through almost 3 million units to consumers during the first calendar quarter, and Sony recently confirmed that 3.3 million PS5 consoles were shipped in the 3 months leading to March 31st, with supply constrained by parts unavailability that could result in PS5 shortages until 2022. Now, according to Ampere, Xbox Series X S consoles sold a combined total of 1.31 million units in the first quarter of 2021, and Microsoft didn't provide Xbox Series X S shipments figures with its earnings results for the quarter, only noting that hardware revenue was up 232% year over year, driven by continued demand for the new consoles, which it expects to be in short supplies until at least June 2021. Both Sony and Microsoft's new consoles are suffering from supply constraints and unpredictability availability, according to Ampere Analysis Piers Harding Rolls. Sony will be pleased that its PS4 market share is continuing into the new generation, but it is very hard to gauge real demand under the current market condition. Nintendo sold almost 6 million Switch consoles during the first quarter, according to Ampere, up 12%. So the Switch is out there, but the Switch is actually able to pull off some pretty amazing things and are having a lot easier time with the semiconductors and stuff like that. There's a global shortage that's really hampering everybody, including the Switch, to somewhat of a type of situation. But really, I think for both PlayStation and Microsoft, it is a little bit weird to see that they aren't able to outsell the Switch or anything like that, as far as I can tell. But yeah, like it is, like I don't understand why people are so shocked that, basically Xbox is picking up right where they kind of left off, and Sony picked up right where they left off as well. So yeah, it is, sort of strange when we see this kind of thing happening, and we do continue to see Xbox get beat handedly, and that's not saying that Xbox is bad or anything. It's just basically saying that that this is a situation where gamers maybe had a little bit too high expectations, and I think that that's probably the case. And like for me personally, I think it's just interesting that people would really kind of buy into Xbox suddenly like changing the game and doing some kind of amazing thing out of the gate. I just I never thought that was going to happen. I always thought that probably wasn't going to be the case, and now here we are, and it's definitely not the case, and people are kind of looking around with their shocked faces on, like, oh man, how did that happen? How did Xbox, the console they couldn't sell for crap last gen, and they're still selling for crap this gen? Again, they have all the advantages, right, that you could think, and yet they're still selling like crap. So yeah, very interesting to say the least, and I'm sure that like the supply constraint is an issue, but it's an issue for everybody, and yet PlayStation is still selling a crap load more, doubling up, and it could even be doing more than doubling up. So yeah, this is very interesting news. Very funny to see sort of the backtracking that's going on. Oh, I never thought that they were going to outsell them. It's this and that and the other thing. This happened and this happened. So like for me personally, I always find the kind of backtracking a little bit funny. Just say, what, Xbox is just not in it to win it in terms of console sales, and the reason why they're not in it to win it because of console sales is because just for the simple fact that they have these other outlets as well. But I mean, if you honestly don't think they want console sales too, I think you're a little bit crazy. So hopefully some of this stuff gets kind of sorted out before too long. I would love to see some movement by Microsoft. I don't know, like I think games and games actually coming out would be a huge advantage for Microsoft and a huge deal, because they've just not done it. They just not really gotten things going on that front, and I think that people are very aware of that. And the more aware that people are of that, the worse it is going to be for sales for Xbox. So with that being said, I'm going to link this and you guys can check it out. What do you guys think about this? Did you guys expect PlayStation 5 to just completely dominate in terms of sales and things like that yet again? Or did you expect Microsoft to put up a better fight? Let me know down below. Thanks for watching. This has been Crapgamer, and I'm Crapgamer Reviews. Rack 'em up. Crapgamer out.